Hey guys, welcome back to Mo's Game Table. Today we're going to talk about storage for the Third World War from Compass Games. A few weeks ago on Ardwolf's channel during his Monday counter clipping show, the topic of Third World War came up. John Sy was talking about how he can't get everything to fit in the box. He was really concerned about that. And I told him to use the tray dividers that you can download from BGG and make them, and you'll be able to sort all of your counters and fit them all in the box flush with just 3 counter trays. And I'm going to show you today what I was talking about. I know John wanted to see it, so I'm going to show you here as well. That is how flush it is. I mean, it's up like maybe a millimeter. I don't even know if it's that much. It's really, I'm kind of pushing on it right now because it's leaning on the table, but it's flush. And you can see when I open it up, you'll see these are the rules. It's just up slightly. And we've got the rule book here, the playbook. I got a solitaire procedure sheet that I've got in there. And then here are the counters. And this is how they're all broken down. When I'm talking about tray dividers, you download the file and then you'll print them out on cardstock and they're going to come out like this. Then you cut them out in strips, cut them in half, and then you're going to bend, or you can use a scoring method with like a razor or something like that to score it, or even one of those rotary cutters. And when you cut them, you're going to end up with these little strips like this. And you can see the lines where you're going to, maybe you can see that now. I don't know if it might be too overexposed, but you'll see those lines there. What I do is you also notice the rounding there. Yes, I even counterclip these to get them to be round because you have these round wells in here, and the bottoms of the wells are slightly narrower than the top. They kind of go down at an angle. So I do that to get them to fit in there nice and comfortably. So when I put all these tray dividers in there, then I can break down the units either by unit stripe or unit type, whatever I want to break it down by, depending on the game. And you'll see here, let's take out the cards, which I have stuck on the side over here. But here's 1 counter tray, 2 counter trays, and 3 counter trays with the dice tucked up in the top. And then I've got spare counters over here because we had those replacement counters. I just kept the originals because I wanted to have the originals in place just so if something happened, I had them. I even broke down the odds counters. All of the different administrative counters you're going to need are all on the 3rd tray because I figured I'm going to keep the units on the first 2 trays as much as I can. There's some administrative counters there, but then I have admin counters that I can use throughout the game. I'll have these on the side on the table. These other trays will be where you pull your units from when you're setting up your game. I even have an extra well right there that I haven't decided what I want to use, what I want to do with it yet. But all of your, what I do is I always put my control markers, my turn track, victory points, all that stuff in the bottom right corner. Just that way it's always uniform and I know where everything is. But that is how these units are broke down. And you can see that's what it looks like with those tray dividers. It is really neat. It's a very easy way to sort all your counters. And then of course you're going to not always have the exact amount of space for all your units. There's going to be some bleed over. I have that in here too. For the bleed over, I just put them usually in the next tray, the next well, the next top tray, if I in the divider there, so that way I know where it's at. I know, okay, well, I've got a couple more units to this unit here. Well, there's the bleed over there. I've got one right there. So this way I can easily find what I need when I'm setting up the game. But I really do think that these tray dividers are a massive boon to organizing your games. You can download a file from BGG and just run as many copies as you want or need at a time, cut them out, cut them up, fold them up, glue them, and then you have a bunch ready. And just like clipping counters or just like sticker and blocks, whatever, sit down, put on some good tunes, print those out, cut them up, and then just sit there and get into a nice zen folding, gluing, put them on the side. Next thing you know is with each sheet, let me see here. Each sheet gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's what I want to double check. That gives you 18. So you have 18 per sheet. So you have almost a full counter tray. you've got 18 wells that'll be covered with one sheet. I print several sheets out at a time, and that way I can just make them as I need them. And usually what I'll kind of do is I'll just be in the mood to make a bunch of trays, tray dividers. I'll just sit down, make a bunch, put them on the side, or put them into blank trays. And then when I need a game that I'm going to be breaking down this way, I just pull out that tray and I sort my counters. But it's a really easy way to sort your counters. You know, of course, when you're putting your units back in, you're not just going to be dumping them in a well. You're going to be sorting them out and putting them back in. It's a little bit of time on the back end. But on the front end, when you're setting up your scenarios, you're setting up your games, it's so much faster. So one way or the other, you're going to pay me now or pay me later. I'd rather pay at the end, so that way when the next time I want to sit down and play, I can set it up a lot faster. And like I said, all 3 trays, let's see if you can see that angle there. That's how much space I've got. You add in the playbook, add in the rules, and let's see if I can get this without everything falling out. You could see it's just about flush. And then you put the top back on, and it's going to sit on your shelf with no issues. When I push it down, because it kind of opens up itself because of standing up, but when I close it back down, there you go. If there's any lift, it's going to be extremely small. So that is how I've broken down my units for the Third World War using the counter tray dividers. And I strongly recommend you guys do it too, especially if you've been struggling with how to fit everything in a box. You're putting them into baggies. No, don't use baggies unless you prefer to use baggies. And I know a lot of people love to use them. They can mark them up and say what unit is what. But me, baggies are only for when I can't fit them in counter trays. Then I'll use baggies. If there's that many counters in a game, I will use baggies. But for something like this, you can very easily store it using the counter trays and the counter tray dividers. And one other piece I did forget to include. Remember I said that these counter sheets, you just print them out on cardstock, you cut them up and all that stuff. I forgot to show you what they look like. This is what a finished tray divider looks like. When you cut it up, fold it up, glue it, this is what it's going to look like individually. And then you just put it one in each well. You got 3 different types of stacking you can do because you got 3 different spots in each well. You've got the 2 dividers there. One of the other things I do, and this is a little trick I've done from time to time, depending on how many units you have of each type, you can either put them all in to one divider, or you can put them side by side if they'll fit. If you've got, say, 4 of each unit or 6 or something like that, because you probably get about 6 or 7, possibly up to 8 for each little well. So what you want to do, or each little divider in the well. So if you only have like 4 or 5 and you can fit them side by side, for smaller units, you can put them side by side like that too. Now, yeah, when you take them out, it might be a little bit of a pain at times, depending on how big they are and what the tightness is to fit. But hey, pretty much everybody's got a pair of tweezers. So you can use your tweezer, just pick 1 or 2 of them up, and then you'll be able to easily remove all the others. Like I said, slight inconvenience when it comes to setting, putting them back in the tray and possibly even removing them when you have units like this. But it is one concise, easy solution that you can have and not have to worry about having stuff outside the box or using baggies. If you don't want to use baggies, trays are the way to go with tray dividers. Download that from BGG. I will put the link down below. I've talked about it on other storage videos, the tray dividers, but I'll put a link down below so that way you guys can go right there, download it, put it together. You'll be able to get your Third World War copies stored a lot neater. Well, I hope this helps you guys out if you've been curious on how to sort and store the Third World War into one box with no problems. If you have any comments or questions, post them down below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.